Hello everyone, and welcome to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. My name is ATR, and today we're going to have a 1v1 on Semoskiy Winter. Our heroes today are going to be Terror DE, playing for the Germans, and his opponent is going to be ZT Showtaro HUE. So, Showtaro, for shorter I suppose, playing for the Soviets of the Red Army. So once again, round of 128 from the Sunday Night Fights Season 5 tournament. And this is going to be against seeded players number 57 for Terror and 72 for Showtaro. The highest ranking of them would be Terror, and he is currently ranked around the 700s for his German play. So, yeah. So we've seen a couple games, I think 2 so far. I forget. But yeah, like I said, I want to cast all these games and see if we find ourselves a little gem in there and at least have some coverage for all the games in this tournament, which was put on by Ami Polisai and all the cast at CoH2.org. Too much expense on their own. So anyways, build orders here. We have Terror D already selecting his doctrine, and that is the Mechanized Assault Doctrine, and get himself Assault Grenadiers, also known as Asgrans or Hagrans, or well, multiple different names. So anyways, Assault Grenadiers going straight into the house, not even jumping out. It looks like they wanted to have that position secured. We see the conscripts for Showtaro actually going to the right-hand side as well, so they will be running into those Assault Grenadiers. Assault Grenadiers jumping again into the house. Not exactly sure why they are the ones in the house. The Pioneers would probably be the ones to benefit from being in the house a little bit more, and the Assault Grants pushing forward. But they do see the conscripts, and they are going to run at them, considering that they know that the conscripts cannot get any type of cover in this zone. And there they go, Assault Grants getting right on top of those conscripts, and they're going to start putting the hurt on them. So the conscripts will have to retreat in the face of all these Assault Grants. One of the A-Grants does go down to the conscripts sustained fired, but looks like they are now moving, crawling along, not putting out a lot of firepower because they're moving. There they go. 4 on 3, so the fight is actually a little bit closer than you would have expected normally, but now down to 2 men on the conscript squad forces the retreat, and the conscripts do not manage to capture that point. A little bit further to the right, we have another conscript squad capturing territory, which didn't actually decide to help in the fight. I suppose he wanted to focus more on the capturing of territory. So anyways, for Showtaro, we have the usual no tiers, getting himself conscripts. Up to 3 conscript squad now on the field. We have both conscripts on the right-hand side, while the combat engineers for Showtaro are on the left-hand side capping. Likewise, we have an Assault Grenadier squad for Terror on the left-hand side, which could run into those combat engineers and, well, wreck them essentially. No tier for Terror D. It isn't, I would say, usual, but it is the most common thing to do when you go Assault Grants. Most people that go Assault Grants try to get themselves Assault Grenadiers in the early game and then tech to tier 2. Not exactly the best, I would say, personally, but, you know, it is a strategy and can work out if executed properly, especially getting that half-track out very quickly with the flamethrowers. The conscripts are very weak against it, and with the Assault Grenadiers nearby to help out, you know, you can wreck them if used properly. Other popular strategies that we see, or, you know, a little bit more rounded, are actually getting tier 1 and getting some grants in combinations with your Assault Grants. You know, just to have a little bit more of a combined arms focus. So anyway, Showtaro taking this opportunity that he ran one of the Assault Grants out of the field, plus the Pioneers are back at base, to, you know, capture territory. He goes for the cutoff, so he will deny the left-hand side as well, and is getting the right-hand side. So all the fuel is going to be in the possession for Showtaro. We do see the Assault Grenadiers that were capturing the northern or left-hand side victory point. Going back to his base, going to push away those combat engineers, but they might actually be focusing on trying to recapture the point instead. Assault Grants reinforced and back on the field. We now see tier 2 on the field for Terror and getting himself Panzer Grenadiers, of all things. So no half-track as the first unit. He could actually afford it if he wanted to, but it looks like he wants to have more infantry on the field, and Panzer Grenadiers are his choice. Panzer Grenadiers, pretty strong units, very strong at this stage of the game. I mean, we are 4 minutes in, probably 5 minutes by the time the Panzer Grenadiers come out, so conscripts don't really have much in response to Panzer Grenadiers, so they will be able to, you know, run amok for a little while. Tech-wise, again, we see nothing for Showtaro so far. No tier 1 for snipers or tier 2, you know, so still pretty early, so it should be fine. And we have Assault Grenadiers and conscripts engaging down south. The conscripts are moving away. They are out in the open, so the Assault Grenadiers just need to push on forward right on top of them, and they will do the damage. Center of the map, we see Assault Grenadier jumping into the house to be able to fight against 2 conscript squads in combined. But we now have the Panzer Grenadiers hitting the field, which will take a little while to get there, but should be fine. Why am I saying should be fine so much? What I'm trying to say is they should be able to support. 2 Molotovs landing in the church. The Assault Grenadiers managed to dodge both of them quite nicely. Conscript squad getting mauled by the SMGs, down to 3 men, and being the focus of the Assault Grenadier squad. And the Panzer Grenadiers are coming up right behind this conscript squad. The conscript squad is down to 5 men, with the Assault Gren still in front of them. They do URA on top of them for some reason, but now they are going to jump into the church, and the Panzer Grenadiers, I would assume, are probably going to throw a nade in there. Does have the munitions to do so, and he's getting himself a second Panzer Grenadier squad, but the conscripts see the Panzer Grenadiers and decide to just simply run away, so no need for a nade, and the Assault Grens and Panzer Grenadiers are just wrecking the conscripts on the retreat, but they do manage to make it out alive. Assault Grens do put out less DPS than Panzer Grenadiers, so we're not able to finish them off on the retreat. Okay, so Showtaro did get himself a tier 1 that is, but it is only a stepping stone to get tier 3. So we might be seeing a fast T70. He does have the fuel already to be able to get a T70. So I am going to assume that that's what he's getting. So tier 1, tier 3. Little bit of a gamble strategy to go tier 1, tier 3, because if you go tier 3, you don't have that much of anti-tank capabilities. T-34s are okay against Panzer IVs, but not the best. They usually lose in those engagements, but if you can get more T-34s out on the field quicker or faster than your opponent, you know, you should be okay. But if you want more reliable anti-tank, you need those AT guns, which you don't get if you go tier 1. So a little bit of a risky situation. It works out very well if you can rush for that T-70 and, you know, hit the field in force and then just basically pin your opponent in his base or kill off his retreating squads, you know, make him lose a lot of units. But if you don't manage to do that, then you're in a little bit of trouble. So anyways, we see Panzer Grenadiers just moving along on the field, capturing. Actually, no, they're going for the center, so not capturing. Panzer Grenadiers right outside of Shotaro's base. Shotaro pushing with 2 conscript squads in the front of his base. We have another conscript squad just capturing on the north. These conscript squads running into a Panzer Grenadier squad. Panzer Grenadiers jumping into the house. This side of the house actually has 4 windows, allowing them to shoot full firepower at that conscript squad. Molotov winding up and going into the house. Panzer Grenadiers run out of the house well before the Molotov lands, and the second Panzer Grenadier is now right on top of these conscripts, willing to help out. Nice bundle nade going right on top of that conscript squad, down to 3 men and forced off of the field. And with 2 Panzer Grenadier squads on top of them, this conscript squad is in a lot of trouble. Molotov was wanting to be tossed, but they are forced to retreat immediately. Otherwise, it would have died down to 1 man on the retreat. So very lucky to be alive. Look at that amazing firepower from those Panzer Grenadiers. Still no half-track or anything on the field for Terror D. He doesn't want to go for any vehicles, it looks like. Getting himself a med bunker on the field. We'll be able to get those Grenadiers back to full strength. And on the right-hand side, the Assault Grens are just simply capturing territory. So right now, Shotaro is in a tough spot. Only has 2 points on the map in his possession, going for the fuel. And he has tier 3 up. He hasn't actually gotten anything. Not exactly sure why. Could already get a T-34 if you wanted to go for a more general purpose main battle tank, but this Panzer Grenadier being very bold and very stupid, getting itself in the arc of fire of that bunker, and there we go. Doctrine selected for Shotaro, and that is the Soviet Shock Army Doctrine. Very strong, very popular doctrine. They got released recently. I believe it was originally a Theater of War doctrine, but it got enabled for multiplayer, and it's very nice, very well rounded. Gives your conscripts PPS ages and allows you to get, well, shock troops, which are currently wrecking that Panzer Grenadier squad, down to 1 man on the retreat. I don't think it's going to make it out alive, and there it goes, down 1 Panzer Grenadier squad. Nice pickup there for Shotaro, so that should give him the momentum to start pushing into the center of the map with his conscripts and his shock troops. Up north, we see Assault Grens engaging the conscripts. The conscripts are in the losing end of this fight, down 2 men in the initial burst. Nice Molotov, actually, no, that doesn't even kill. It did hit on top of the Assault Grenadiers, but they didn't get critted, so they're fine. Pack on the field for Terror D, anticipating some type of vehicle for Shotaro, but Shotaro only now getting himself a T70. Not exactly sure that is the best choice. Obviously, it is a good choice considering the unit composition, but the pack is already on the field. If he sees the pack, then it's going to be fine. He can work around to get behind it and clear it out. But if he doesn't, he's going to get surprised. Although, huh. This pack gun is already damaged. Down to 2 men. I didn't actually see it come into play in the field. Oh well. So yeah, T70 should be fine. If he gets a second one, because he has so much fuel, would be even better, but we'll see if he does that. Oh my god, why am I thinking? I was seeing the fuel here, and this is Terror's fuel. This is not Shotaro's fuel. So never mind, yeah, he just got the T70 because he only now could. Sorry about that, I was looking at the wrong resource. Well, anyways, Panzer Grenadiers engaging in the center against Combat Engineers and Conscript. They do throw a bundle nade right on top of the units and do some good damage, but the Conscripts are now in heavy cover and have PPSHs, so they are capable of fighting against the Panzer Grenadiers, but after a little while they do lose out on that fight and retreat down to 1 man, barely making it out alive. And the T-70 is now hitting the field, will be doing a lot of damage against these Panzer Grenadiers. If it goes aggressive, it could actually eliminate an entire Panzer Grenadier squad before it retreats. There goes the retreat. Can he catch it out? The pack gun is not set up to defend it. It does turn around, so it should be able... No, it's actually moving there. Down to 2 men on the retreat. And, it is going to make it out alive. The pack does take a shot at the T-70. It misses the first shot, and the T-70 moves out of its arc of fire. So very, very nice. Pioneers over on the right-hand side running into the shock troops. The shock troops should be able to kill them very quickly. And they need to retreat right now. They're still there right on top of it. The T-70 is actually being the focus right now of Terror D in his control, and he ends up losing the Pioneer squad completely. And we now have a Flak Panzer on the field for Terror D. A very nice response. T-70 has no chance against the Flak Panzer. The Flak Panzer will rip it to shreds, and Flak Panzer will, rip all the infantry to shreds. Up north, we see an engagement. Assault Grenadiers against Conscript. The Assault Grenadiers decide to retreat, even though they have veterancy too, but they are retreating because the Flak Panzer is going to go and finish the job for them. Showtaro probably has 18-8s at this point, so these Conscripts should be able to toss a nade at this Flak Panzer, but no, they actually end up having to retreat. The Flak Panzer doing damage to the units in it, but this didn't actually kill any of them. So they will be able to make it out alive, and we do have medics, so they'll be able to save that manpower for a little while. Panzer Grenadiers against shock troops in the center of the map. Bundle nade going on top of the shock troops. Very nice damage, down to 2 men. He can finish it off with the Assault Grenadiers. The shock troops are retreating. Very healthy for the 2-man squad, so they will be able to make it out alive. T-70 moving into the center, taking some shots at these units. Takes a shot in response by the pack gun, it looks like. Although, no, it looks like it was already damaged at that point. Down to about half health, needs to be very careful. The Flak Panzer is coming in to support. Another shock troop squad on the field, getting harassed by that Flak Panzer, forced to run away. And, yeah, there's nothing on the field for Showtaro that he can do. He does have 80 fuel, so he needs to wait if he wants to get himself a T-34, which, in my opinion, would probably be the only option that he has right now to be able to combat that Flak Panzer. Because, like I said earlier, going Tier 1 to Tier 3 is the risk that, you know, you can get overrun by enemy armor because you don't have the capability of building anti-tank guns. The other build is Tier 1 to Tier 4, in which case Tier 4 you have SU-85s, meaning you don't need anti-tank guns. So. One thing I saw where... was it on the OMG Pop Games? I forget. I think it was. In the Sunday Night Fight Tournaments, one interesting thing that I had thought about before, but I haven't been able to do it myself because I haven't actually bought any commanders. Only commanders I've bought, I've actually given away. But with the urban defense doctrine for Soviets, you have that light anti-tank gun that you can call in, which isn't exactly the best, but it is an option, you know, like a deterrent. Which you could call in. So if you go Tier 1, Tier 3, get yourself a fast T-70, and have the urban defense doctrine there, you have the capability of still being able to have that anti-tank gun on the field, even though it's not as good as the Ziz as far as damage. It's still pretty good, and if it actually manages to rack up veterancy, it can actually do some decent amount of damage.
Panzer Grenadiers.
And then you can just bolster that, you know, with the T-34s and such, so, you know. Not as good, but a little bit more well-rounded, and, you know, utilizing your fuel as effectively as you can. So T-34 on the field for Showtaro, so he did go for the logical route and is going over to the right-hand side to harass Assault Grenadiers. Assault Grenadiers, all they can do is really crap their pants in the sight of that T-34. They will jump into the house and try to survive for a little while, but the T-34 will be able to shoot them in the house and do some good damage on them. Flak Panzer is on the left-hand side of the map, so it is relatively safe for now, so it can go hunting for conscripts and units. But we now have a Panzer IV reproduced for Terror D, so that T-34 is going to be in a little bit of trouble. We have a, what is this, Panzer Grenadier? No, Assault Grenadiers running into the house in the face of the shock troops. They actually take a beating while doing so, but we do have a flanking Panzer Grenadier squad right on top of the shock troops. Nice bundle nade on top of them. Very nice damage. Actually gets a little bit of splash damage on the Assault Grens, but they do manage to run away. One conscript squad down, forced off of the field, and the second shock troop squad is coming up against the Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer Grenadiers now losing this fight. They don't have the option to throw another bundle nade, so they are going to have to retreat out of the field. Panzer Shreks equipped on Panzer Grenadiers for Terror D, going up against the T-34. T-34 landing a nice shot on the Panzer Grenadiers, killing one unit and forcing them off of the field. But the T-34 is now damaged, and we have a Panzer IV on the field for Terror D. He is going straight for the T-34, which is, in my opinion, the correct choice, because the T-34 is already damaged and the Panzer IV most of the time wins it on a one-on-one. Ramming ability getting engaged by Showtaro. Can he actually get it? No, he actually burns out the engine before he gets on top of the Panzer IV and is now in a very tough position. Should be able to still move that that T-34 out of the way, but he will not be able to get that ram off, and the Panzer IV should actually be able to clear it out. Panzer IV is just sitting there, tanking some shots from the T-34. T-34 will do some decent damage to it, but it'll die, and there it goes. Flak Panzer clearing out the shock troop. Can he actually finish it off? Oh, he is cut in the snow. Very lucky shock troop. Very lucky to be alive. And the T-70 just moves along its way, getting out of the sight range of that Panzer IV. Panzer IV backing off. We'll probably wait there for some repairs. Terror doesn't actually have Pioneers. He's building another Pioneer squad, but he is pulling his infantry back and forth onto the field. And Showtaro can't really do much about it. He doesn't have any fuel. He doesn't have any fuel. So it's going to be a while. T-70 still potentially useful if he uses it to, you know, poke around in the edges probably and back off. You know, should not go too deep in there, but for the most part it is essentially useless because it is counterable by, well, both vehicles. Black Panzer can very quickly kill a T-70 if allowed. So Panzer Shrek equipped Grenadiers going into the center. We have that pack gun still at 2 men. Never got to see where it actually lost its men, but Flak Panzer going into the center. The T-70 hearing the Flak Panzer coming, it decides to move along. It is currently in its capture mode, so it doesn't have its gun enabled, but, well, the Assault Grenadiers over here capturing territory. Shock troops running at him, but the Flak Panzer is moving there. It actually sees the T-70 now, so it will turn its gun. Actually, it doesn't. The fence right here is blocking it off. Now it sees it and says, oh, hello. Who do I shoot? Turns all the way around and says, okay, well, let's focus on one thing. Shock troops are the thing, and there we go, doing a lot of damage to the shock troops. Shock troops trying to retreat in the face of that Flak Panzer. Can they actually get away? The conscripts are pushing forward, probably trying to get an 18-8 off on the Flak Panzer, and they will be able to do so. No, actually. Flak Panzer does manage to get out of its range, and it's just simply shooting those conscripts. The conscript Ura trying to get on top of the Flak Panzer. We now see an artillery barrage by Terror D trying to catch those conscripts. Can he actually land it? It looks like he is. No, the conscripts are retreating. Very nice barrage, but the conscripts actually dodge it all. Very nice, though. He anticipated the movement of them to this point and forced the retreat of the squads. Very nice there by Terror D. Very nice. Left-hand side, Panzer Grenadiers and conscripts engaging. Bundle nade on top of them would be very nice because they can't retreat very quickly. And, oh, look at that damage go down. Down to 1 man, forced to retreat, but is executed by the Panzer Grenadiers. Very nice there by Terror. So not a lot that Showtaro can do at this point. He is getting himself an AT gun, so he decided to back tech to tier 2 because he doesn't have the fuel to be able to do much. So he spent the fuel there and is getting himself an AT gun, which, well, will, I suppose, help out. You know, it can't really hurt, but it's not going to do much. T-70 getting caught out of position behind enemy lines, essentially, by the Panzer IV and the Panzer Shrek equipped Panzer Grenadiers, running through the ice, trying to get itself back to its base, but it is turning around. Oh no, that was a mistake. There it goes. Remember, you can always just click reverse and have it continue on its path, but it looks like he just moved there and clicked back at base, so T-70 thought the best idea was to turn around and head back home, and in doing so, he got shot by the Panzer IV.
We've captured it.
So, yeah, this should be game, considering that Terror is getting himself a second Panzer IV, so anything that comes into the field by Showtaro is going to be immediately countered by those Panzer IVs, even if it is an SU-85. But it is not an SU-85, it is an AT gun. With AT gun can get killed off by the Flak Panzer ridiculously fast, and the Panzer IV is just simply holding ground. They have nothing to fear against the shock troops. Shock troops pushing forward in force, trying to kill off the Panzer Grenadiers. They actually do bring them down to very low health. Can they finish them off? Panzer Grenadiers retreating, down to 2 men on the retreat, and the shock troops are now getting mauled, down to 1 and 2 men on the retreat. Flak Panzer pushes forward. Is it going to go for the circle strafe on the AT gun? It is going to go for the circle strafe on the AT gun, and the AT gun is now boned. Blitzkrieg up activated on the Flak Panzer, making sure that it can get behind the AT gun, even though it was almost behind it already. AT gun turns around and actually nails the Flak Panzer before it dies, but the shock troops, but the conscripts are running towards the Flak Panzer, probably again trying to get an 18-8 off, but can't really do much. Panzer IV's just holding position outside of the base. Flak Panzer goes in for a stroll. Second AT gun on the field for Showtaro, trying to get the kill on those Flak Panzers, but once again, what can they do? Shock troop down, and second one actually doesn't go down. Flak Panzer manages to not shoot it, and the conscripts now on top of the Flak Panzer do not throw an 18-8. So why are they chasing it? I don't actually get it. One would assume that you're chasing a tank with your infantry because you're going to throw an 18-8 at it, but Showtaro decided not to throw an 18-8. Does he not even have it? I can't actually see, but that was interesting. Left-hand side, combat engineers did capture this point, but they're not going to get assaulted by assault grants. But never again, because Showtaro says, that's it, I can't really do much about this, I already lost so much. And yeah, GG. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the game. If you have any positive or negative remarks, once again, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you have any replays you want to send me, go ahead and send them to the email in the description. But otherwise, hope you guys have a great day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.